promising.
And just remember, jiggling the table's going to jiggle back.
How do I look back here? I can't see myself.
Well, other than the school bus behind me.
That's a great orange light.
Yeah. And the people walking. I think
the part of the show. It's a natural feel.
Yeah, I think you can move over a tiny bit.
Like towards you?
Yeah, just a little bit towards me.
Okay, I don't want to be near you. Who's that? Oh my God, we're recording. I can't say things out loud.
And welcome to the after show of the Tow Show.
Welcome to the Tow and Life after show. That is what sums it up. No, leave. Get him to his room. Get him to his room. Should have the couch and people as they came in can come and sit with us. It would be a true after show.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Yeah, that looks good. Okay, well, if the audio, I can't see. I have my glasses off.
All right, you can't see nothing. Your blind is bad.
There's no notes. Like I can't read this. I can see the PTAO logo, cannot read these letters. I literally, now I can. So fun fact for everyone watching at home, that I am absolutely, and listening at home, that I am completely blind without glasses. So if I'm not...
For those who are listening from home, the audio is going to be completely different. And that's because we're sitting beside each other in a studio. Well, not a studio, it's what a...
It's a bistro.
It's a bistro at our hotel.
Yeah, it's a wonderful hotel. We're not going to name the name of it. If you want to find out where it is, head over to the PTAO's website and figure out where they were booking the hotel for the Tow Show, and you'll glad to see. Give them 5 stars.
You don't even need to give them that information.
I got no problem with that.
The lighting might be a little weird. We've got a ring light set up.
They don't need the technical.
Okay.
Let's get on with the show.
At one point, we might bump the table and the camera falls off the back.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep,
the trucks are loaded,
and so are the drivers.
You are. I'm not.
That's fair. G was nice enough this week to be our wonderful DD. But before that, how are you, G? How are you?
I am doing good. I'm actually sober right now, and PlainGuy is not.
Oh, PlainGuy's sober.
PlainGuy is not sober.
PlainGuy is not... I would not drive because of my restrictions I put on myself with any alcohol, but I definitely would consider myself in the sober category.
Really?
Yeah. I've got my 1 hour chip. I worked very hard for that throughout the night, for your record. For those of you that don't know, we are coming to you from the after show, we're going to call it, from the 2022 PTAO TowShow out in Kitchener, Ontario. It was...
a good time.
It was a great time.
It was a really good time. We had a booth set up there. I'm sure if you follow us on Facebook, you would have seen multiple posts about it, and probably a live or two if you're over on the YouTube side of things. It was a really good time. We met a lot of cool people, had a lot of great conversations.
Absolutely, I agree. It's something that, as towers, we all know that, just as this show will go to promote, that towers love to talk and love to chat. And when you get about 100, 200 of them together in a room, in a lobby, and then put trucks in front of them and new products, my God, it is going to be a good time. The stories that were told, the laughs that were had, the amazing vendors that we've seen on site, some of the, the regulars that we've seen some new faces. It really goes to show the importance on the industry. It's the one time a year that we can all get together and share either common thoughts, stories, all those kind of things, because that's what you truly need to get the industry on the same page, is a time for them all to be in the same place, right? Technology is changing. We can do all these meetings and everything over the phone. We can do them over Zoom. We can do that kind of thing, but it doesn't beat having everybody in one room together. You see the groups, these guys are from this area of the province, these guys are from this area of the province. Everyone seems to hang out like that. But then everyone comes together, right? We had a dinner, there was balloon animals for the kids, there was coloring. I caught G once or twice at the coloring table, and I can tell you, he cannot stay between the lines.
I cannot.
I may be blind. You don't have an excuse. You can see fine, and you still couldn't keep that crayon between those lines. I was so disappointed. I seen the most disgustingly colored elephant I've ever seen in my life.
It was a tow truck, man. It wasn't even an elephant. It was supposed to be a tow truck.
That's how bad his drawing was, that it was supposed to be an elephant, or supposed to be a tow truck, and turned into an elephant. But no, it was a great time by all. There was, let me ask you, G, what was your favorite, who was your favorite vendor there, other than the Towing Life podcast?
Well, other than ourselves, obviously, my favorite vendors are the equipment selling vendors.
Okay.
So we had CTS Cargo tie downs, and we also had Canadian Towing Equipment.
Yep.
And the reason being is because they have TowShow sales, right?
Yeah.
If you come out to the TowShow, you can get good deals. I know I got a set of dolly straps, nice and cheap, and they're the dolly straps I always use. It's also a good time to actually touch and feel some of this product that you might be seeing in a magazine and not knowing exactly what applications it may be used for.
That's fair.
And you normally got all the sales guys that are normally with the company there at that time, and you can talk and interact with them and pick their brain about things and different ways of using different products. And for me, being in the industry, and I'm sure all of you, you're always looking for new and different tools or different ways in how to use your tools that you might just not have thought of yet.
Yeah. No, I think that's very reasonable. I like the idea of, like I said, the salespeople. We spend, depending on how much you guys are ordering and how often, you talk so much with these guys over the phone, everything like that. You kind of build a relationship from, especially if you're in a spread out area like we are, if the supplier isn't close by to you, it's all done over the phone and everything is shipped out. Yeah. So to have that time to kind of sit one-on-one, talk with them in person and do all that kind of stuff is a nice way to connect with these vendors that you're dealing with. Like I said, CTS Cargo, amazing booth they had set up, as well as Canadian Towing Equipment, never cease to amaze.
Yep.
NRC with some of their units, and they even brought some equipment. They were selling a couple different things. Metro Tow Trucks, I believe, at one point was there selling a couple different things. Yep. And there was that one M&S Wrecker Service or Wrecker Sales, where outside they had a couple things too. So there was no shortage of equipment and tool vendors at the show, which was really nice to see. Normally it used to be you'd get one, maybe two of them. To have 3-4 of these, the major ones and then a couple little ones on the side was definitely nice. The information that we learned over this weekend just from chatting from other vendors was probably one of my favorite parts. Yep. I'm not going to go verbatim what it means, but we talked to a gentleman with the Wajax booth with Allison Transmissions, and the difference between an automatic and an automated manual.
Yes,
that was the difference.
That's going to be a whole episode all on its own, or at least a whole segment.
Absolutely. We're going to try and sit down and talk with him possibly at one point on the show. The difference between guys hating on automatics, what a true automatic is versus what is an automated manual transmission.
I know, I had no idea.
There's people that do. There's probably much smarter people listening to this show or watching this show that knew these kind of things. Hey, we can't know everything all the time. So if you were at the show and you want to have, give us your favorite moment, your favorite vendor, your favorite any of that thing, it is easy. You can head over to www.towinglife.ca. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com. I don't have my usual scroller that reminds me of all these things. If you're watching over on YouTube, you can easily just click the comment section below. Don't forget while you're there, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Even if you aren't going to leave a comment, be sure to do it. If you don't like the video, by all means, give it 2 thumbs down. And
click that button twice.
You got to make sure to click it twice, and we will do our best to continue to bring you content. Unfortunately, producer Sarah wasn't there. G's wonderful girlfriend was with her. I referred to her as Sarah all weekend. Yep. One of the reps from a company that we've been dealing with the wonderful folks over at TowSoft, actually, we have no problem mentioning them, actually asked if she was producer Sarah. Seen her quick glance.
Yeah, we were actually at the brewery the other night, and she was up getting me a rum and coke because she's a wonderful girlfriend. And someone came up and said, "Oh, producer Sarah," and she's like, "No."
In his defense, I had been calling her producer Sarah all day.
Someone
all
probably
weekend.
overheard it.
Someone probably overheard it from me and just assumed that was her name. So she was not no one can replace producer Sarah.
No.
But in her absence, I believe she's out on the West Coast somewhere in Vancouver. It was about as good as it can get.
Oh yeah, she saved us a couple of times this weekend.
Absolutely.
A couple of times.
I know you guys didn't, a couple of you have been looking out for the lives throughout the weekend. We did do the walking around. We do have a lot of footage
Yes.
that wasn't live that we recorded that we're going to get to, and G will work hard to put out an episode or some clips or a YouTube, maybe its own YouTube video, a TowShow recap video. We will get that put together. And be back to you guys next week. We're not going anywhere right now, but we will be back with you guys next week for a full regular episode from back in our chairs, back in our happy places. But the nice thing we'll see, and the audio listeners may or may not know, the video will really notice, is that the one thing that was really important to us is G and I got talking and we realized that we've been doing this podcast for just over a year.
Yeah.
And in that time, we have actually seen each other face to face once.
Yeah, for all of like 45 minutes.
Yeah, maybe an hour.
One evening.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. So for us to get the opportunity to sit down, and that's why we really pushed hard to get this episode recorded in a hotel bistro at 11 o'clock at night or whatever time it is after all the fun we've had. The wonderful people, like I said, I can't believe they were willing to help us out. And the guys even been playing with the lights, trying to figure things out. It's not a perfect system.
No.
But I mean, we have produced a show in much worse conditions.
Yes,
so.
much worse. And a lot more time restraints. And we never once said that we're professionals. And it just goes to show.
We're professionals in the towing industry, the podcast industry. We are still working towards it.
Yes, 100%.
What do you think of the trucks? What truck absolutely caught your eye?
Well, I did two long form walkthroughs of a couple of pieces of equipment there. I had an audio hiccup on one, so I'll have to work around that.
Okay.
But there was one truck in there in particular. It was Chadwick's heavy wrecker rotator.
Really, of all the trucks? No, not shitting on Chadwick's. Just of all the trucks that were there.
It's a nice green and mahogany red combo. And it's like Irish and firefighter. And in the grill of his Western Star, I'm pretty sure it was a Western Star, it was a metal cutout with the Chadwick's writing up top and like a firefighter crest with a wrecker in front of it. And it was green backlit. And it just looked awesome. And
so it's a fucking Christmas tree?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just a grill with the green lights.
But the red and the green, it's a Christmas tree.
Well, it was
it's
done.
It's a 60,000 pound Christmas tree.
It was done tastefully. They also had a M2 flatbed there, and it was just the fenders in the red and the body in the green, and it actually looked really good. I personally I was appealed to it. The only other truck there
I don't think that was the word, but okay, man.
Yeah. The only other truck there that really caught my eye, there is a breast cancer awareness M2 flatbed with an NRC bed on it. I'm pretty sure it was active. I've got their business card right here, actually.
He's going to go find it while he does. Okay. So it was a breast cancer awareness wrapped.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Freightliners, but I mean, I did see that truck. The wrapping on it was pretty legitimate.
I thought I had a business card.
I was a big fan. We were seeing a lot of 40 TVs. Advanced towing with the breast cancer awareness wrap. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
The 40 TVs, I don't remember seeing that many 40 TVs from different manufacturers all at the same show. Mm-hmm. Normally you might get one there. NRC had a beautiful on a Western Star. Yep. They had this different rail system on it. It looked pretty nice. And Rika, the fine folks, I spent more time talking to Rika than I did talking to G. Mm-hmm. They were amazing over there. Yeah. The one thing I've noticed about Rika, we've highlighted some of their equipment before.
If you've been following our show, you know that we covered when they first brought out their K250.
Yeah.
And the reason why we did that, we haven't done it since, is because they're a smaller company here, based out of Quebec.
Yes.
And a lot of people think they're a massive company, but they're not.
Yep.
And the quality of work that they put out and what they stand behind their product just blows you away. Like, they are comparable to some of these big guys with big budgets and big shops and multiple locations. So that's why we always pay interest into these trucks, because we see them on the road and they're good quality.
It was amazing. There was a Rika truck sitting directly beside a wrecker of a company that I won't name. And all it took is standing between them and looking back and forth and seeing the difference in quality.
Yep.
Right? And I mean, there's a market for both. There is a market for the quick put-out trucks that are just doing, you know, I feel like, you know, it's a whole talk we're going to get into about quality and, you know, quality versus price and where they meet and how to balance them. And, you know, depending on different business situations, different decisions have to be made, cash flow, you know, everything that you've got going on. So I'm not saying there isn't a market from them, but when you put two trucks like that side by side, you really appreciate
the extra $50,000.
maybe 50, maybe 15, maybe you know, we'd have to spec out two trucks identical from them and see what the price tag came in. But you can really see the quality and you can tell when somebody is cutting corners. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not shitting on anyone for doing it. Obviously, this other record manufacturer that was there is selling product, and people are buying the product. So you know, if you are watching, it's not a jab at you. There's different markets and there's different customers, and these two companies are competing for two completely different clients.
Yep.
But
it's a completely market altogether.
Rika really seemed to take ideas. When we looked at that K250R, I think is what it actually is when it came out, and you can go back and find it in one of the episodes. G will probably put up one of those little link things right now on YouTube. If you're listening on the audio side, I have no idea which one you'll find it on. Good luck to you. Maybe we'll figure something out for that. But it looked to take into account operator practicality, meaning it was one of those ones, the dollies were mounted low, the chain compartments were mounted high, and the flatbed was no different, right? The receivers that came off the wheel lift of this TB40, if you were going to use the wheel grid setup, were tucked in a nice spot right behind the controls on the tailboard. They slid onto another square channel. Like, it's all these little things that you see, and you go,
I would have thought of that after the fact, and by that time, it would have been too late to implement it.
Yeah,
right?
G'd be out there trying to weld on the galvanized to get this stupid bar. You'd be mounting some bungee cords or something to flap it around. Yeah. So no, whenever you have a company that really responds to what the feedback, I think, from the industry is, I think it's important. I think, like you said, Rika is definitely stepped up their game and can be classified among one of the, you know, at least in quality at this point, I would say at least among one of the big players in the industry.
And I know most of our listeners are from the US of A, and I don't think too many Rikas have actually made it.
I don't think they're set up for export to the USA at this point, so it was only for our Canadians.
If you guys are interested in these Rika products, feel free to go check out their website and make sure if you message them, tell them that we sent you, please.
And tell them right off the hop that you are from the US, so that if they cannot help you out, we don't want to waste your time, we don't want to waste their time. We don't want to fill up their phone for the wonderful people over at Rika for if we can't make a deal happen for them. But no, they absolutely had some great equipment. We got to see the fine guys at TowSoft. You guys have seen the logo.
You got a nice jacket.
I got a beautiful jacket.
You wanted to fight me for it.
Well, no, I think it would have made a great stream. I think if you would have done the bowling, you could have claimed your victory there, and you could have got out of the boxing, but we never thought of recording the bowling.
Yeah, we never did record the bowling.
We never did record the bowling.
Well, to be fair,
I lost.
Yeah.
I lost by like 1 or 2 pins to TowManG, which I never thought would have been the thing.
Oh, we had the best bar conversation while we were there.
No, we're not going to get into the bar conversation with our poor friend. No, we're going to leave him out of that episode.
Okay.
We got to leave a little, cannot give away everything. You have to leave a little mystique, a little intrigue, a little mystery behind it.
Well, see, that's what I just did. I put out a little cookie.
No. You would have given them the whole cookie.
Wow.
You are an information... I don't know if I can say that word. Yeah, water pipe. Let's go with water pipe. Yeah. You give it up way too easy.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm pretty easy, I know.
Overall, the Tow Show was, I think, would be a success. At the end of, anything else during the day, what else did we see during the day that you really think that we need to talk about?
Oh, there's just so much. We took in so much. It's hard to really put it all into words.
Spill tackle?
Oh yes, the booth over at Spill Tackle. I did actually, the product blew me away. So I actually went back over with a camera and I recorded their whole pitch. Now, it's not an ad. You're gonna see it at some point, and I just want you to know it's not an ad.
Yeah, we're no way affiliated with Spill Tackle at this point, but at the same time, when we see a good product,
It's
a good
just cool.
product. Yep.
It's very cool, and it's different, but it's the same in so many different ways. It does the job of what you think it will, but it surpasses your expectations, or at least it did for me.
Absolutely.
So it's just something that I thought was cool, and hopefully when I share it with you guys will think it's cool as well.
Absolutely. As there's people randomly walking by the lobby, why there's these two guys sitting in a well-lit back corner of a beach show, figuring out what exactly is going on.
We got recognized in an Arby's.
Oh my God, he's in love with this story. So go ahead, tell the story.
I'm in love with this Arby's.
Tell the story. You don't even remember the guy's name.
I've got his card.
Okay.
I got so many
I at
cards
least
from
remember his
different
name.
people. Do you?
I don't need his card. He's one of the few that I remember his name. So yes, go ahead though. Tell the story.
So we walked into an Arby's because both me and PlainGuy have never had an Arby's.
It's PlainGuy and I.
PlainGuy and I, yes, sorry, English is hard. So we walked into the Arby's, and as we were ordering our food, this nice gentleman turned and was like, I know you guys. You guys are from the podcast. And we're like, we are. And we had a beautiful conversation. And then he actually came and met us at the show the following day because we hadn't even started the show at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was definitely a moment that we weren't expecting. Obviously, being surrounded by towers, we were hoping at the tow show to run into a couple people that we know, which we did.
Yep.
But yeah, to be a Thursday night in an Arby's before a tow show, you're not using the names. We don't use names. But now you remember it. But yeah, the Thursday night at an Arby's before the tow show was not the spot that I thought somebody would stop us and say, hey, I know you guys.
Yeah, we still do need to send the picture.
I sent him to him today. I spoke
did
with
you?
him today,
Okay,
and I got them
perfect.
sent over to him right away. So he is taken care of.
Yeah.
He is happy.
Good.
Moving past the vendors that we've seen inside, some of the...
You got to see some of the seminars, didn't you?
I know. I didn't really get a chance to sneak into many of the seminars. I got sucked into some of the most in-depth conversations with some of the most amazing professionals across the industry. Some that we're hoping to book on the show at one point, because exactly as we thought, they brought topics. Right? We always look for those topics, and some of these guys are so knowledgeable, you know, that we've got to get them on the show. We've got to have those talks with them because, you know, even if you're not you know, you don't want to be a know-it-all in towing, or you think you do know it all, I think some of these people can really bring some different ideas that you've never heard before, and ways of approaching them, right? We were talking about insurance issues, about insuring drivers, and steps we can take towards that problem. We were talking about grassroots programs like we've talked about before, and getting to these, you know, these younger people, and showing them that there's a possibility, not forcing them into towing, not shoving it down their throat, but just, you know, this years and years of pushing university and college. You're never going to be anything if you don't go to university, if you don't go to college. And we're seeing where the shortage of most of the workers are. So it's not saying that, hey, go do some dumb job that you don't need a college or university degree for. Towing, if you want to, towing, anybody can tow. Let me get this straight. Anybody can tow. If you want to elevate the industry and be one of the top within the towing industry, it takes work, it takes knowledge, it takes all of those things.
Years.
So years and years and years and years. So it's not as simple as just saying, you know, oh, you guys want the guys that can't go to college to end up in towing. I know plenty of guys who haven't gone to college or university and are some of the most amazing operators and have saved lives. You know, we got to see that at the banquet. Shout out to Aces Towing, who were awarded, I don't remember the name of the award.
Heroes of the industry.
Heroes of the industry. That was it, for an incident they did with a cement mixer, with a gentleman trapped inside with power lines and everything else involved. And they were, you know, a big part of involved with saving a life, and at least saving a limb for sure, and possibly a life at the end of the day. So, you know, some of these people are not university graduates, they're not college graduates. So we want to get into more in-depth talks with these people. I won't completely go into it because it's fair. I want you guys to hear it from them. Me recapping these conversations that I had would be the worst idea ever. Right? This would be like G doing a solo podcast with a thought that I told him about in the parking lot. It wouldn't work.
No.
It doesn't do it justice.
No, it does not. And it's going to take time. And the nice thing is about the tow show in general is the amount of people that you talk to and the networking. So the amount of potential guests that we have, and it's just opened up so much more for us and so much more for you guys, because it's just more potential content that we can make for you guys week in and week out.
Absolutely. The weather was beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
The venue was beautiful. The meet and greet venue is beautiful.
Yep.
The dinner and banquet tonight was amazing.
I'm still full.
Yeah, I'm not wearing pants. I've unbuttoned them. You guys can't see them on camera anyway, so they are unbuttoned and
You're
gone.
not in your office, man.
Well, the poor people in the window behind me, whenever I stand up, are going to see a whole lot of untannedness. Is all I'm going to say. So no, it was. Tow shows are back in Ontario. This is the first one in 3 years because of COVID. Overall, it has its hiccups, as any event would after a couple years off. I'm going to say overall, from my experience and what I remember of the PTAO TowShow, I'm going to give it at least an 8.0. 7 point, I'm going to change it. 7.5. There was definitely room for improvement, which I think there always is. And I think anyone in the industry will tell you there's always room for improvement on anything you do. So 7.5, good job to the entire crew over the PTAO. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Yep. They invited us out here. Yep.
And it was definitely an honor to be there and definitely an honor to talk to. If you got the chance to talk with us, we hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I would probably say it's a 7.5, 8 as well. And the thing is, like, they had half the time as what they normally would to organize this event. And I was a little critical at the one beginning because the last time I was here, like 3 years ago, they had like more outdoor activities and more seminars and different rigging and loading cars onto beds and stuff like that. But they had 6 less months to organize and come up with a game plan. And anything's better than nothing. And we haven't had nothing. We haven't had anything for the last 2 years. So all the vendor spots were full. There was tons of people walking around, all having a good time. I don't think anyone left there with a frown on their face. I think it's impossible to leave there sad.
This feels like a whole commercial, but one guy that definitely leaves there empty-handed was Jonah. The wonderful winner, you guys will have seen the post came out on Sunday, of the Backpull Hitch. Again, we want to thank Backpull Hitches.
Yes.
This literally sounds like a commercial for all these different companies. But like we've said before, we would never promote anything we wouldn't use ourselves. And advertisement or not, this is a one-off show. All of these products that we have mentioned have absolutely amazed us. The wonderful people over at Backpull Hitches gave us a free Backpull Hitch to give away at the show. We got the ballots done. We picked a winner. That winner happened to be an operator that I think is going to really enjoy that product. I know Kevin over there has reached out to him and told him, if you have any questions about it, let me know. And so we can't thank them enough. We can't thank all of our supporters throughout this entire, this has been, I feel more like this like a year recap thing. I feel like the Tow Show would be more of a year recap time.
I think it's a good thing to do. It's like
it's a good milestone.
It's
a good milestone.
Yeah, it's a really good milestone. Like, we've just had our year anniversary a couple weeks ago, like 4 weeks, maybe a month ago now.
6 weeks ago. It's been a
6
while.
weeks ago. It's been a little while. I think this is what, episode 58 or 59?
This is 59.
59.
59.
Wow, 59 already.
Big 60 next week.
Oh,
We're going
no.
big for 60.
We're getting old.
Oh boy, we are.
We're getting old.
Maybe 58. Now it's 59.
I don't know.
I got to look at our advertisement requirements.
Anywho.
I don't even know where we're at. I can't see you right now, remember? So I don't know where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, me too. It's nice to have you here, man. I can touch you. I can reach over and touch this guy's
I really
shoulder.
wish you wouldn't.
Yeah.
I cannot say the same sometimes.
Thanks.
It's been a very interesting. Now it's true. You know what? We haven't seen each other in a long time. We love to bust each other's balls.
You know what sucks? You know what really sucks?
That we're leaving tomorrow?
Well, no, not just that. But if this is like so good and everyone likes this so much more.
You're moving to near me so we can do it in person more often?
Well, next week's video is going to suck.
That's fair.
We might be setting the bar too high, or maybe we're just hitting it under.
I think that's a
Well,
hot
it's not
take.
up. It's not up to us to decide. It's up to them.
I'm going to decide for them and say that's a hot take. This is where I wish I had my button that said nobody else's opinion matters.
Like, we don't have a script. We don't have a list. We don't have nothing. It's all off the top of our head.
We just pulled in, asked the lobby if we could sit down here and started to talk to you guys. So
I put down a battery box there and a light. Here we are.
No, I definitely think it was a good time. I cannot wait to do it again next year. I cannot wait, guys. We have, we're excited. I can't believe we are where we are. Never would we have thought when we started this that this is where we would be on a Saturday night in Kitchener, Ontario, which reminds me, why are we in bed so early why are we going to bed so early on a Saturday night in Kitchener? Let's go have some fun.
Yeah, we're going drinking after this.
Amen. Okay.
I just got that bottle of wine opened, and I've got a whole bottle of rum in my...
I don't drink either of those things, but I'm in. So
you got beer, right?
I got beer in my room.
You got beer.
I got beer in my room.
He's got beer, I got rum. We've only been doing this for less than 30 minutes.
Are we actually under 30 minutes?
We're under 30 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta cut that. I don't know what else is more to talk about. Stop the recording. We'll start back up.
I can pause it.
Okay, so there's definitely enough talk about the actual tow show. I want to get into a couple things leading up to the tow show. We ran into a situation coming up here where we were towing a vehicle. A vehicle that I could find no information on YouTube, on Google. I tried, and I know you guys are struggling with it too. Gee, I know you've ran into it too, is these new goddamn electric parking brakes.
Oh, they're the worst.
I hate these goddamn things.
Absolute worst.
They're, there's no power to the car. You got no keys. In my case, it was a stolen recovered. So it didn't have a key fob. They had reprogrammed the key fob. It wasn't around, whatever it was. And I was stuck. I was bringing my wrecker up. Dollies weren't an option for the distance that I was going. Bed wasn't an option because of previous commitments to other jobs and everything else. And I had this Dodge that I hooked up, and the electronic parking brake got engaged.
And you already dropped the drive shaft.
And I already dropped the drive shaft off of it. Of course I did.
Yeah.
No, sorry, I did not yet. I had not dropped the drive shaft until I could figure out the electronic parking brake. Because, I mean, why do a step if you don't need to? 4x4, beautiful Dodge Ram in 2019. So I can't say that this works on all other models. I can tell you that the 2019 specifically that I dealt with on the Dodge 1500, it worked in. A huge shout out to the Dodge dealership in my town. We called them up, and I got to send them coffees whenever I'm back on Monday because they got me out of a pinch and definitely made this trip worthwhile. A fun fact for you guys. So there's a couple different ways that I'm hearing as I was talking to people at the show, and they were telling me that, you know what I mean, there is nothing online. And that was what amazed me. Nobody has done a YouTube clip on this. The only thing that I could find is on the back of these, on the inside of these brakes, there's 2 bolts you can remove and actually manually crank a bolt or something, remove the parking brake. The dealership, in my opinion, gave me a better option. On the top of it, there was 2 wires that went into a plug. I was able to disconnect it, take a booster pack with 2 paper clips, because where the 2 wires go in, and you could hook positive to one, negative to the other, make your booster pack live, depending on what system you have. Some of them are always live. And there was no risk. My biggest fear when he was telling me this over the phone is, what happens if I mix the polarity? What happens if am I going to do any damage to this system? And the answer was no. It's a reverse polarity system. If you put it the wrong way, all it's going to do is tighten the parking brake. You simply flip your terminals over, put it back in, and it releases the parking brake. You hear the motor, and I don't know if there's any damage if you want to sit there and hold it for a minute, but you hear it release. Normally, if you've got a little tilt on your wheel lift or something, you'll know. I had that Dodge with the manual release, the one under the dash. You pull the cord. And as soon as you had that little bit of pressure on it, as soon as you release the parking brake, you've seen the wheel move a little bit. And I left it on for maybe about 5 seconds just to ensure it was fully backed off. Last thing you need is going down the highway, and you find out that the brake's dragging.
You were.
I was going 400, 500 kilometers with it. The last thing you wanted was to have the
be slightly on,
slightly on, exactly.
Because it's not going to be slightly on by the time
we're going to wear the hell right out of it. Hopefully it wears out before it gets too hot and then, catches something, lights something up. But no, and then, do the quick side on the air side. For safety, I left the plugs undisconnected. We were in dry weather. There was no risk of getting, stuff packed in it and everything. My fear was if the alarm had been activated on this vehicle, that it would re-engage it for whatever reason. So we just left them disconnected, got back, hooked them up. According to Dodge, there's a system where it'll relearn and re-engage itself and reset up its gaps and everything, because I imagine there's sensors. It goes so far until it feels pressure and stops. It doesn't just crank on to the max. Like there's things that go into it. So
but I'm assuming this is something that they would have to do at the dealership once you drop something off like this to them.
Well, that's it,
because that's the only way they can move it. Either that or get go jacks and try to push that halfway across the parking lot.
I don't know why they're not putting these bulletins out to towers.
No.
And if they have, this is a 2019. This isn't like it's a 2022 that just hit the market. I was shocked when I couldn't find anything on you. Like, the dealership was my last resort, and that's probably inexperience on my part. I probably should have just called the dealership first, because they're going to give you the answer. But how many times do you call the dealership for something
and they give you
and they just go like, I don't know, like, tow it here and we'll tell you. I was willing to, hey, if these guys, I believe I told them, like, if I got to get it there, I'll dolly it to get it there. If there's a scan tool or anything you can put on, if you got to charge me for it, do it. The mechanic came back, he said, don't worry about it. let me walk you through. And he walked me through, and I crawled underneath while he was on the phone with me, did it up, and I was rolling down the highway to make this trip. I wouldn't have not made my trip. I still would have made the trip, let's be honest, but it definitely helped at least mix some business with some pleasure for the weekend.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, like, to be honest with you, a lot of times dealers or mechanics and towers butt heads sometimes. I know I've personally felt or dealt with some mechanics that try to tell me how to tow things, and it doesn't go the other way. Like, I don't tell them how to fix cars.
Yeah, but in all fairness, they have a better mechanical understanding. I might listen. I don't think I've ever had a mechanic tell me how to tow a car.
I've had a couple before.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're like, "Oh, well, why did you tow it this way, or you should tow it that way, or something like that."
Yeah.
But in this case that you've had, it's really great that you've got this type of relationship with the dealership, this Dodge dealership. I don't know. We don't even know if you.
We don't service our trucks there.
Oh.
We don't service our
Theirs would
Dodges.
be nice.
And nothing against the dealership, the great people, is only because they don't have the capabilities for the size of trucks that we have. They're one of those dealerships that can do 1500s kind of max kind of thing. So we aren't really able to with them anyways. But no, yeah, they are.
But we're seeing these electronic systems in cars that we've never seen before.
Yep.
Right? Like the electronic parking brakes is always a lot of headache for us as towers. And a lot of people don't even realize that they have it. So even if you try to ask them over the phone as you're coming there, they're like, "Oh, I don't know."
No, your customers don't know what they drive.
No.
Customers don't even know what they drive. You think they know what kind of parking brake system they have? Oh my God.
They might know when they have to replace the brakes because the automatic parking brakes cost more. I found that out when I was getting my truck serviced the other day.
The brake liners, you mean,
Yeah,
cost
like
more?
the calipers cost more and the rotors.
Okay, well, the rotors I can't see having a different cost. The caliper system, depending on how it's mounted, if you're doing the calipers and you got to do the motors at the same time, I can see you're just, limited production on them because they're not as common yet, right? We see that with a lot of stuff, but no, I can't see the rotors. I'm gonna call bullshit on the. Well, first of all, they're back rear. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call bullshit on the rotors costing more. Somebody will prove me wrong. Maybe you'll prove me wrong. We'll price compare something along the way. So, no, it's true. The technology that's coming out, although it's great.
Or it's like the auto folding down mirrors when you put something in reverse.
I hate those.
I absolutely hate those.
I set my mirrors to be able to do all my driving. I don't need them to auto fold for me. Like, let me drive and let me do my thing and leave me alone.
Yeah, like I do more backing up than I do backing into a spot. If I need to look up to see the line, I will. I don't need the mirror to do it for me.
Yeah.
Or how many times have you got into a car to move it out onto the street and that seat tries to kill you when the steering wheel comes down and hits your gut and you're like, "Oh no, this is how I go."
I swear every Mercedes owner must be 4'2", because when I get in those Mercedes, I'm a big enough guy to start with, and yeah, when those things start coming down, I start panicking. That is for sure. No, it's technology is changing. Things are improving. Some may not call it an improvement, but overall things are improving, and we need to adapt. The towing industry needs to adapt. We need to adapt in the way that we appeal to new operators. We need to adapt into the methods in which we use when it comes to towing and recovery. I'm a big believer in evolve or die.
Yep.
And the towing industry, year after year, and with all these new things that we're seeing, I think is on the verge of that we need to adapt with the way everything's getting a little more difficult to tow.
Yep.
So I think if you want to keep your damage claims down and keep moving forward as a business, you obviously got to find the research. And so if, hey, we talked about tips and tricks back when, right? What's your best tip and trick? Mine is that you can use a 12-volt booster pack and 2 paper clips and solve your electronic parking brake issues, at least on the Dodge Rams.
2019.
On the 2019, I take no responsibility if you hook a wire and a boost pack up to something else and it goes sparks and all of a sudden the truck alarm goes off or it won't start or the brakes let go, whatever the hell. I take zero responsibility. Please use your own risk.
Yeah. But that's one nice thing about tow shows like this is because it's operators coming together and they can share this kind of information. Because my experience and his experience completely different.
100%.
I've ran into
Mine's
situations.
real.
I can run into situations that you've never dealt with or even thought about, and vice versa. And
Name one.
coming together.
Name one.
Coming together with 500,000 operators all under one roof.
I'll wait.
You can really pick people's brains and the information just starts flowing, and it's just so easy and so much, you can find these tips and tricks so much easier.
It's amazing. You're right. We do see different things, but at the same time, you hear, you think that you might be the only one facing a problem, but you find out all these other companies are facing the same thing. And absolutely, you can find tips and tricks that they've used in the past to solve problems you have. You can help them with problems they've had. It's, I think the only way that the towing industry is really going to thrive is if we start to, competition is one thing, by all means. You don't need to share your company secrets and what your revenue generated was at the end of the year, all that kind of stuff. But tips and tricks like these, especially for operators and for drivers, man, that is what is going to bring us to the next level.
Yep.
100%.
And we saying this is the PTAO. That is our go-to, right? It's the board that's supposed to bring us all together and where we can share all this information and get things to change for the better. And they were thankful enough, or we're thankful enough that they invited us to this tow show, and we cannot thank them enough to let you guys come along for the ride.
Absolutely. We ran into technical issues. It wasn't the perfect weekend. We knew we would. We went into this saying, there's going to be problems.
We brought way too much equipment, and none of it seemed to work.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the gist of it. So we went into it with great intentions and all kinds of plans, and we got thrown a curveball just like you do every day out in the truck, right? You go, I'm going to have this. This is what I'm going to do, and something goes sideways, and you adapt and you figure it out and you get the job done. And I think that's what we did here this weekend. I was very proud of it. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of the team. I'm very proud of the podcast and how it has grown in the last year. And I can't wait to be back and do it again.
Yeah, we wanted to do some sit downs at our booth, but unfortunately with some technical issues with microphones, we thought, hey, we could do it, but the quality's not going to be there. You guys aren't going to enjoy it, and we're not going to enjoy it.
And that's one thing we're clearly all about is good quality.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We always put quality up first.
So what's the scenario that you've encountered I never have?
Don't worry about it, man. Just don't worry about it. I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay.
Hopefully he forgets.
I'm not going to forget.
He's going to forget.
I'm an elephant. I never forget. I'm like the elephant you tried to draw.
No, I was a tow truck.
All right. It turned into an elephant.
Yeah.
I'm like that elephant.
Maybe there's no...
You're never going to forget it either.
Forget what?
The elephant.
What elephant?
No, Jesus. Well, that being said, G, it was honestly a good time.
Yes.
I was glad to have you with me on it.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see what else we come. Maybe we'll try and get some other tow shows in. Unfortunately, there was another one that we could have went to that I think was scheduled the same weekend. So that made it a little tough. It's something we'll definitely look at doing more. Getting out to see you guys. When's the Towing Life Podcast World Tour? World Tour. If there is any companies that are looking to sponsor a Towing Life Podcast World Tour,
hit us up.
Hit us up. I'm in.
TheTowingLife@gmail.com.
TheTowingLife@gmail.com. Visit www.towinglife.ca. You will find the contact us form there. I feel like I'm missing one of them. Or find us on Facebook. There it is.
There it is.
At the Towing Life Podcast. And again, if you're on YouTube, just hit us down in the comments. You know where to find us. It's been a blast. I can't wait to do it again. That being said, it is late. We are tired. It's been a long time. We will see you next week.
Toodles.
Take care.